Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Hofer.
We are here. We are a little late, but that was a scheduling thing. And then I did my thing to make us late even more. So we're here.
Yes, we are here. We are live. We are doing the things. We are joined tonight by our special guest, Joe, who got to hang out with me for a little over a month. Probably a little more closeness than most people would want to have.
Not any closer than we've spent in the past.
This is true.
Did you guys get to share a room?
No.
Well, then it wasn't that close.
That's what you mean. We've been closer for
longer
times. Yeah.
What were you doing?
Army stuff.
Okay.
So totally nothing weird.
I think it was summer 2013, him and I spent more time sleeping in the same spot than him and his wife. Between us being at guards together and her being at guards by herself and motorcycle trips and
Well, that's what you get for being in the Air Force versus the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're in the Army, you get to spend time with me.
In all its glory and splendor.
Right on. Mick is joining us. He said he just finished assembling the unique AR, or the upper with the unique AR handguard he won from us.
That was the red one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah. It was a while ago. Hey, that's cool, man. At least it's done, because, gosh, I've had gun parts that I still haven't built in anything. It's been 5 years, so.
I find it best to not talk about gun parts.
Yeah.
I have all the upgrades for my Shadow 2 still in the boxes that I ordered them in, because I bought my SIG after that and started to run that instead.
No, it totally makes sense.
The entire upgrade set is just sitting there.
Good call. Good call, Mike. All right, Nick. Go green on that. That red was a little bit there, but hey, guard red.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's actually true though, Joe. Because I went over to Nick's house last night to do some suppressor paperwork, and we were just randomly talking about different things and shooting deer, possibly, in a week or two for East River. And he asked me what scope I was going to run, and I was like, no, I really don't know. I think I might run that Swamp Fox Saber on it, that 5x optic, prism optic. And he's like, or you could try this primary arms optic. And he just hands me this optic. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Put on your rifle. Okay.
Speaking of suppressors, mine got approved this week.
Oh, good for you.
2 days late from when we were there, but
yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So along with other exciting things, and we could talk a little bit about what we've done cool, but mostly the only cool thing I've done with guns since we've been back, I did go out, and we will talk ad nauseum at some point about the upgrades and changes I made to an AR-10 build with the swap over I did to make one of mine a 6.5 Creedmoor. And I'm just going to say this, if anyone is ever looking at a adjustable gas block system, or if you need adjustable gas block, rifle speed is the only way to play. I bought one, made the chance, I tried it, and now going forward, I truly think that'll be the only way I do it.
Right on, man. No, I held that thing last night when I was there too. It's a solid build, super solid build. Thanks, Drew. I appreciate it. I just finished it. Literally, that's kind of why we were late tonight, is because we were going to start at 8. But I'm like, please don't. So yeah, it just got done. It's not quite done, but it's pretty much done.
So the sticky tack holding the guns up is going to fail, and they're all going to fall.
Oh no, I used a good amount of screws. That thing is not going anywhere. It's definitely not straight or true because I just screwed the boards up. I didn't really dowel them together or wood glue them or anything like that. So yeah, it was a Garth project.
I hate getting too specific on squareness and make sure everything's perfect and even. I'm like, just put it up there. It'll look just as good.
Well, that's why I used the corner of my room. I was like, that's as true as I'm going to be. So I just slammed everything up to the corner and then just went from there.
The wife will say that. Like, we need to make sure this is. I'm like, our house is not square. We live on a hill in Fort Pierre. This thing is so crooked, it doesn't matter what we do. Then when you hang stuff, it's not hanging right. I'm just like, let's just make it look nice.
I may have a picture upstairs that I intentionally hung a little bit of crooked just to mess with my wife.
I believe that.
Is your wedding picture?
No, it's not that one. So we should probably get into what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight's episode may be boring for some people, super exciting for others. We're going to talk a little bit about the class that Joe and I just got done with. The class or course, what would we call it, Joe?
Yeah, either or. I think course, it's MMTC was course, not class. So.
Advanced Knowledge Training course.
Yeah.
It was course.
So the two of us just completed Marksmanship Master Trainer course. And that was the most intense military course I have ever done.
Same. We're not infantry. We haven't done all the cool, fancy, high-speed courses, but for what I can compare it to that I've taken, it was definitely the most strenuous, high intensity class. Like it started, you hit the ground running and kept running until day 29 because we were losing people at day 28 out of 30.
I was going to say, how many people started the class versus how many did you finish with? It was a pretty intense course just from the workload you guys kept sending me on Snapchat.
Yeah, out of 50 started students, we graduated 35.
32.
Oh, so
we had a couple people fail their G2s on the last day, on day 30.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So the course we went to it's what we talk about this is our Marksmanship Master Trainer. So obviously this is a shooting based course. And with that being said, it wasn't just a range class, nor was it just a classroom class on instruction and doctrine. One of the things that was interesting, and when we got there, I think the first 2 days were we had 4 days total or something. We weren't on a range.
With the first week, and then I think it was closer to 5 or 6 because we had those last two right in the middle.
Yeah, well, and it's when I say first 2 days, we showed up on a Tuesday, and it's when I was reported at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and then so Tuesday we did like all the in processing normal stuff that we'd have to do for a class.
We got there, we in process, and we were doing homework. We were getting instruction by 7:07.
Yeah,
like we were doing instruction before we went to breakfast. Like that's how fast we hit the ground.
Yeah, we took our initial knowledge exam like immediately, and then got some instruction, went to breakfast, came back, and got equipment issue.
Yeah, and to be fair, like you guys are in the South Dakota Army National Guard. This wasn't a Guard specific class, though. You guys were there with some of the best, right? I mean, you were there with Rangers, you were there with recruiters, you were there with higher ranking full-time Army guys, right?
Well, not higher ranking. It's only E5 through E7.
Okay.
So technically, me and Dooley outranked most of our instructors. I'd say there was a handful of us at E7, quite a few E6s and some E5s.
Yep.
Just sergeants. The big thing was that class, their class load is 75% drill sergeants. So that's where the majority of it's made up, is those guys that have to teach those troops that are coming in how to shoot. It's one of the, if you're on the trail, you could pretty much go to whatever class you want, especially if you're not picking up.
Yeah, and so, and going to this, it is based around teaching. One of the main things we did is we learned a lot about individually how to do stuff, because it was, the theory behind it is anything that we teach, we have to be able to score a minimum of 80% on, to include shooting and any written tests or anything like that.
Yeah.
Standard.
So if you're in the military, most classes you take, it's a 70% to pass. That's all you need. 70%. If you don't pass first time, you get a second chance. The rifle qualification day in the Army, you need a 23. We had to have a 28, which means we had to shoot just under sharpshooter to continue in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a lot. We learned a lot, because the class is, like Dooley was saying, the class is set up so that we can go back to our units, back to the state, and teach a unit how to qualify better, what practices to employ to become more efficient at what they're doing. And that's where they said that 80% came into play, was we were supposed to be we are now subject matter experts in the .40, for the Army, the .9, the .40, and the .35. Like, we are experts in that, so we should be able to teach it to anybody at any time.
So really, there was no, in this case, 70% was passing, because in order to teach, and that's why you guys were there, you had to have the 80 or better.
Yeah,
I think the only thing that was 70% was the pistol qual.
Even that was higher.
I've done the math. I think that, because we shot, it was 21 out of 30 is only 70%.
Oh, because I thought it had to be higher.
But I think that's mainly because most people don't shoot it. But
yeah,
well, there was a standard that you guys were going to hold to and meet, because, well, otherwise, what was the point of being there, right?
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. That now I think it was. We'll get into it later, but it was stressful, because one, you don't want to go and fail. Any school that the Army pays the money to send you to, but as the class went on and we were noticed on the firing lines and in the classroom, we were kind of trying to live up to ourselves as well. And It was brought up by one of the instructors, because, Dooley and I know each other, so we did pretty much everything together. And one of them made the comment, I think it was pistol aggregate. Dooley had beat me by 1 or 2, and he's like, "You're gonna let it beat you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it stings a little bit, but that's how we are. It's neither one of us is gonna outshoot the other one by 10 rounds, 50 points, or whatever, but we're right there neck and neck, pushing the other one to get better." And he's like, "Yeah, I like that." So
yeah, and this was also kind of unique in that a lot of people who do this, even on the military side, don't get to experience, because they don't do it properly. But we got trained up on a lot of extra things that, like at 23 years in the Army, and multiple deployments and train ups and stuff of that nature, we were doing things that I had not ever been properly trained on. So there was a giant learning curve with that.
There was the stuff we haven't been trained on, and the stuff that, so 2019 is when the new .40 came out, and that's when they started rolling out the new qualification standard. kind of standard. The way we run it, instead of shooting your 20 from the prone, unsupported, and unsupported, and kneeling, we went to the prone, kneeling with barricade. So there's a lot of stuff that we took from how we used to do it, and we were still teaching that. And basically, they didn't come straight out and tell us, no, that you're wrong. But through just listening and watching, we learned, hey, this is a better way to teach this. This is a better way to have our soldiers training and practicing this.
And one thing that they did say was, like, day one we went through, and one of them mentioned it as kind of an offhand comment. And he's like, I know you guys might do it differently, but when you're here, you should try it our way. And I know that the two of us both went, all right, hey, I'm going to run this your way. Like, I'm not going to do it 100% my way, like how I'm used to doing it. I will try this back and forth to try it, to be successful as best we can.
And that's where we noticed it, and the instructors noticed it as we went through that, because we shoot a lot. This was, we left 2 weeks after the 3-gun match. So
yeah,
a lot of habits that we have from, because we shoot more civilian side than we do on the Army side or the National Guard side. So there was a lot of things that we do, not necessarily bad habits, but habits that are more ingrained to competition or USPSA type shooting, that we had to not necessarily break, but adjust to doing it their way during the class.
Were they kind of open at all to you guys, as far as, just to clarify, I know that these, we've talked about these things off air and stuff, but Nick was telling me, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, about a 9-point system between transitions and stuff like that. Now, was that the standard? That was how you had to handle things, or were they open to ideas once they kind of found out your guys' background and stuff? Or
no? So some of these things that we had to do, like when we were doing drills and positions, this is one of those where there's the right way, the wrong way, and the Army way.
Okay.
And when they were doing this, it was, you had to do it by the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that you had to recite it verbatim, but it was, you had to hit like certain words in your description of it.
Bullet points and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah. And there was a lot of things they said. From Nick's shot more of like the national matches on the guard side than I have, but just from what I know about shooting and like ways we have shot that stuff, like a kneeling pistol, as opposed to how we were supposed to do it for this class, was completely different. And they even said that there was one of the instructors was on the I don't know if it was Fort Benning or some sort of group off of Benning that went to the all Army match, and he's like, yeah, that. And there's a reason we teach it that way, and there's a reason that we do it that way for the match. But for training and getting a whole bunch of officers qualified, this is the best way to teach it to get it done.
Yeah, and instead of being like, hey, this guy's a subject matter expert in pistol and happens to own a training company, we're going to have him do tips and tricks. It's, here's a book. You guys have all read the book. Everyone can have the same training.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's cool.
And so there was stuff, there was other things, but they weren't like, our instructors were not completely closed-minded.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we both asked questions or used terminology that they had never heard before. And they were like, okay, wait, what? And it was, all right, they're like, I'm going to put that in the toolbox, because that is something that I had never thought about phrasing it that way.
Well, it's good that to hear stuff like that, because you get into these traditions at schools like this who are, well, this is how we've been doing it for 30, 40 years, and this is how we're going to continue to do it. Well, like you said, there's your way, their way, and the Army way. So
that's a way in a lot of places, but like I said earlier, we're only 5 years into this new qualification standard. And as we were there, they had a guy from lethality that was on the range with us every day, just about every day, to rewrite the doctrine and rewrite the class. They're also looking at this may have been our last chance to go, because they're going to switch to now to the new rifle, the SIG rifle, which is going to completely change the school. And there's going to be no point for us to go to that because we're not going to see that weapon until our
Ever.
are in the guard.
Speaking of which, this is a off-topic tangent. The XM7, the 6.8x51 ammo. I saw a wholesaler have that come up today, where they were selling like crates of it, and they had government overrun ammo for it. And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, what's this look like?" And I saw the prices on it and just went, "Oh my god." Let's see here. So, this is again, I'm gonna make somebody really mad. But would anyone like to guess what like dealer cost is on a 460 round can? This is the bimetal case.
$5,000.
What? No, for 460 rounds.
Yeah.
So not quite 500.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with $1,200, Bob.
$940.
All right.
That's not that bad.
And
But I suppose without having brass case, they make it cheaper.
Well, no, because that's the brass and steel case.
Yeah.
It was not, or $1,850 for the 900 round box.
That's cheaper than that's cheaper than the A1. That's less. Someone do the math quick. That's like
It is, but it isn't. That's the first government overrun, but that doesn't have the right bullet. That's just the first government overrun, because they have their own A1 style bullet that they're supposed to run. This is with a lead core bullet.
okay.
So this is not proper military ammunition. This is something different. It's, hey, we're selling these rifles. We have to provide some ammo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's just with a normal 270, 150 grain bullet. But I digress. Back to the class. When they change it, we all like you said, we were there with somebody from. So it's weird to think about like an office of lethality, but like Big Army has that, and their whole
that was the one thing they said. That was like when the first day or two, like, why are you here? What is the point of this class? To make you more lethal.
Yeah. And they had somebody from the office of lethality there to make the class more effective and look at how things were going, and then get into, yep, this is what it is. Also, guys, we're not going to get into like any trade secrets or anything like that, because we're not going to break it down into that much detail. But it was definitely a very interesting course, because it's, we showed up, and like I said, the first day we did like in processing, some classroom stuff. We got gear issued to us. The next day we did some more another iteration of classroom stuff, and then we started on drills.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Joe's running away, but leaving us with
the scary man with no head.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a Fortnite skin.
I'm guessing so. I don't play, so
neither do I. So I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, but so like going through this, when we got into doing the drills, one thing that it really brought up was it made me get back into how important dry fire is and dry fire can be.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing those drills, because like we all do a lot of dry fire, and we preach a lot about dry fire and how important it is. But the fact that we've done it and practiced it so much, it's becomes glaringly obvious when you get around people who do not do dry fire or practice it or things of that nature. Because as they went through, when we got into drills, like we saw people who were at this course because they got voluntold to go. And like they had no idea how to set up their kit. and not that like I am the grand poobah wizard of setting up, your kit, but I had run mine before, so I knew how things were, and then kind of like reloads where I automatically went to places for reloads, and just doing the drills and some of that stuff on retention and moving that around was a really, really great and amazing opportunity, because it was watching it across a large scale instead of just yourself.
Well, it's amazing what repetition of reps will get you.
When you have a right-handed shooter that has their kit set up so their drop pouch is on their right side of their body, they have to let go of the trigger to ditch this magazine. Like, that's hey, you shot it this way. You've tried to do this now. What do you think you need to do? Like, there was that first week, people were changing up their plates, their kits, their mag pouches all week, trying to figure out what fit where. I've never wore a plate carrier outside of like an IOTV. So Dooley had one, wore Dooley's extra one, wore my taps over it, which was a pain in the butt to get everything clipped, but it worked because I still had my 7 mag pouches and my mags right here. Was it day 3? I think I went and bought a different battle belt and a mag pouch, so I had everything, so I could have some of it on my hip.
Yeah.
Learned a lot on how to set that stuff up and the best way to wear it, and just getting that practice. I know the first couple of days, one of the big things that the instructor said, because they would work with us and observe, was I was turtling a lot. And I'm like, well, part of that, I'm like, 1, I know I have that issue. 2, I don't shoot in plates and Kevlar. So trying to just adjust to that. But by the end of it, nobody, I wasn't running into that issue anymore.
Yeah. And running that through, where like he's talked about it with turtling means that if I turn to the side here, when you bring a handgun up and you drop you bring your shoulders up like a turtle. Turtle.
That's exactly where my mind went. Turtle. Master disguise. I couldn't help it.
I could see that running through Garth's head.
Oh, yeah, 100% was.
But then that's one where, again, I'm not trying to sound like I was the master of kit or anything like that, but I went down there and I had as Joe said, I've been to quite a few national matches and regional matches. So I brought my chest rig down, but I opted to never wear my chest rig and only wear my plate carrier and plates. And I still had.
Not shocked.
Well, part of it was just getting used to things, or as you say, it's I like to do things the hard way.
But you also were able to meet what was needed to be done. We were issued 7 mags. Never did we actually need to have more than 4 on us. And that was only the actual fall was the only time we had to have 4 loaded mags when we went to the line.
And even
the drills.
And even at that, I could carry, because I also took my my personal battle belt that I run for competition, which I have set up, strangely enough, to work in this scenario as well. And it's like to the point of I run 3 pistol mags and then 2 rifle mags on my belt. And then my plate carrier, I have 3 across the chest and then 4 on the sides. So I could run everything I needed to with what I had on me, but I didn't. I actually wound up with space I didn't need to. But
how did that vary from how the standard of the Army had you guys set it up? Or was it like they let you kind of choose in that regard?
As long as you had an ample amount of magazines on you at one time, you were free to set it up how you felt worked for you. So if you were good drawing from your chest, which I did most of the time, because I mean, after I went to my hip mag, everything else was still on my chest. So it was totally up to you. Some people found out that when you have mags or rounds in a mag and you go to lay down, the pressure will pop those mags out and you end up 6 rounds short on a 40 round exposure because
then
it fall
yeah,
out into your pouch.
and then there were guys that were running like the straight issue gear, but they're like, oh, I don't want to run the taps because they think it's going to be too bulky over which the taps is the Army's rifleman kit and how they set everything up. It's a 7 meg or 7 or 8 meg shingle that goes, it's the Army's chest rig. And it's what it is.
Yeah. It's this, but with, great, it wants to use a green screen. But yeah, it's this, but with a little suspender like harness until you attach it to something else, like an IOTV or a chest rig or a plate carrier. So,
yeah, and running those, it's but you saw a lot of guys who are running just like the standard IOTVs or something like that, running I call them a 3 meg shingle, but it's the 3 mag holder, just like piece of quarter of fabric with snaps to to secure your magazines. And they have molly on the front, and they molly to your vest, and they would just go, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put another one right on top of it, so they have 6 magazines mounted right over top of their belly.
And then come to find out, it's hard to get down in a proper shooting prone position because
those were the people who started to have issues because they weren't looking at how things placed on their body. They were just, oh, I just have to slam this on here because who cares about it?
Like I was saying, I ran my taps over my plate carrier, but I had one on my hip, and then I would put the other two or the other ones on the sides and leave the middle open so that when I did lay down, I wasn't stacked up on my magazines. Because I knew I've shot, that was one of the things I learned out in Guernsey at the MAC was where do I want to have my magazines? How are they comfortable to get down into a prone firing position that I can still get a proper sight picture?
Yeah, and so one thing we should talk about, the equipment we used on this. I know we said we used issue, and we got a little bit into what we had. So obviously, this was a military course. So what we did was we used military equipment, and we shot M4 rifles with both with iron sights, the CCO M68 CCO, which is an aim point, and then the RCO, because you can't call it an ACOG even though it's on it.
Mm-hmm. But explain what RCO means, because you had to do it to me the other day.
Rifle combat optic.
Thank you. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Yeah, and then also we had PEC 15s and PVS 14s, which we'll talk a little bit about PVS 14s at some point. But
so why don't you? I know we've talked kit a little bit, and it's great to hear. But why don't you guys tell our listeners exactly what it was you guys were doing there in the first place with your rifles and what you learned and all the math stuff? Because I hate shooting with math. I despise it. But you guys learned a lot of good stuff, and why don't you dive into that a little bit?
Well, there was a little bit of math, but
we were taught math. But the math that we were taught, we had time to use it, I guess, but you wouldn't have time to use it in combat. And it only applies in the Army world. I'll say this, in the military world, you're only making wind holds when you're beyond 300 meters. Beyond 300 and in, it's shoot center mass. Well, not center. It's
center of visual mass.
You hold sternum. It's just you have a little bit up and down depending on your target. But once we moved out to the 400 and 500, that's where we were using, and on the machine gun range that we went to up to 725, that's where we would start using the wind hold math. So, we were able to say you have a wind, say straight across a full value wind at 500 meters. How far left or right do you have to hold? And then, they pied out the clock. And if you have a half wind coming from either the 5, the 7, the 1, or the 11 o'clock, taking that in half, getting your time, getting your wind holds, distance leads at different spots. It's and then the other math was just basic MOA. And it's just like most of us are going to sight in at 100. So we know if we're this many inches off, we have to make this many clicks. But we did it at, we were learning math. If you're trying to group in 0 at 600 and you're 36 inches off, how many clicks is that for this optic? So like the RCOs have 2 different types of optics. One adjusts in a third MOA, the other adjusts in half. The CCO adjusts in half. Your iron sights, the front sight post adjust in 175, and your rear sights adjust in 0.75. So it was more knowing what your rifle adjusted in, or what your sighting optic adjusted in, and how far, so that you could say, hey, I'm this many MOAs off, or I'm this many inches. How does that equate to MOA, and how does that adjust the clicks? Yeah. Most people, you're doing it at 25 or 100. You don't need to know it. Now, because I mean, even if I'm shooting 700 yards, am I really going to be making big adjustments off of that versus what I saw at 100? You start getting wind, and we went through. There was quite a bit on ballistics, which was interesting, but
yeah, it was getting into like the ballistics and some of the drop and those things. Like, we actually didn't get into the math for drop because we're like, no, man, do that stuff at sniper school, which is across the field. Like
on the other side of the compound. We're in the same compound. They were just on the other side of it.
Yeah, like, you guys are over here, sniper school's over there. You want to learn this stuff, go over there for 3 weeks, and because their class is shorter than ours. But when you go through it all, like, yeah, they did it. It was important. But the main thing they said is, if you want to learn about this, make good dope and learn it as you shoot out.
Because we started, our second week was 0 and shoot the Army rifle qualification day, and assisted night with the PEC. So that's normal for us. We didn't learn a lot on that one. Like, that's where we did kind of learn, like, hey, maybe our practice of holding the magazine well is outdated now. Go back to holding the C clamp as far out as you can by that front sight post. Their reasoning behind that is, they're not free float barrels, but that handguard isn't fully hooked to the barrel. It's just kind of supported by it. But they did say, and even our slings, like, we were using 2-point slings, we weren't using the old parade sling, so we could still even use that tension on our slings, because it's not using that stupid little sling
on the barrel.
That's on the barrel. So that's, and then they're like, yeah, if you're not using that sling, you have more control over the barrel of the weapon, especially from a unsupported positioning, whether it's standing, kneeling, squatting, or even the unsupported from the prone. You have more control over the weapon with your hand out there. So that's something I think we both kind of brought back that we'll have to make an adjustment to, and go pick fights with people that think they're smarter than us, that we've been fighting with for years.
The other thing that I will say is, like, I learned, one of the big things for me was learning some of the proper ways on zeroing the PEC. Like, day or night, because you could do, like, you can zero a PEC during the day, but having the, like, hey, this is your little square and you put it up here because you add a square off to the top left corner on your 0 that's a 6 MOA square, and your whole thing is you want it to be in that 6 MOA square when you aim at the center.
Well, even if you back up, even before we did that, the bore sighting, that was new to me, using that Army bore light and having the offset targets so that you're, what were we, 25 meters? Did we zero them at in the classroom?
When we did the bore light, it was 10 meters.
Okay. So most people, if I say go bore like this, you're going to put the red dot on the wall and you're going to adjust your sight to line up with that dot. Well, that's not correct. They have the offset sheet so that depending on which optic we were using, you would put the red dot on where it's supposed to be, and then you would adjust your sight so it was on that offset. So, and every one was a little different, which was something I had never done.
And that was to make up for mechanical offset.
Yeah, because each thing's got a little different offset, which, I mean, we all know you can bore sight them, and some of them are going to be like perfect dime groups when we move to 25, and others are still going to be like, where's the paper? So, that's where like I said, we've done the day qual a million times. Moving to the night qual, I have never shot with night vision. I've never shot with a PEC. Nick had gone to that class, and thankfully, like we were working together because I was having a hell of a time. My first 2 groups with the PEC that night when we were zeroing, I was struggling with it. I was fighting everything I had. Like, I almost got into an argument with the instructors. Like, I was getting pissed. And we were talking, we're waiting, doing something, and Nick's like, so, like, when you're looking and you got your eyes open, you can see this. And I'm like, I can't see shit. I'm like, I have to, my eye is so freaking dominant. I have to close my eye. Otherwise, I'm seeing mirrors of everything. He's like, what? He's like, I got this. And grabs a hold of it and goes, well, that doesn't work. And just cranks on the diode. He's like cranking it back and forth and getting that diode to move. And I'm like, he's like, got his white light out. And he's like, okay, I think that's it. He's like, look at it now. And I'm like, okay, if this is what it's supposed to look like, we're lucky that my 2 groups were like this high, or even on paper. Because I'm like, I can't see the target, the black of the target. I could see the silhouette. I could see the target, but I couldn't see and he's like, and then from then on, I was right there.
Joe, you brought up shooting in the night and stuff. Why don't you guys dive into that a little bit and tell us what you exactly did? Because, a lot of people do not shoot at night. They don't have the capability. I mean, let's be real. Night vision is expensive. Thermal is expensive. IR is expensive. So what did you guys get to do when you were doing your night shoot? What distances were you shooting at? Positions and everything such as that?
It was a normal.
We started at 25 meters or 25 yards.
We did our 0 at 25. It was not the next night, but we confirmed them at 100 out on at the KD range.
Yep. And then when we shot with it was at the KD range. We confirmed at 100, and then we shot when we qualled. We shot out to 150.
So just like the day qual, but instead of having to change position, we're able to use whatever, shoot from whatever position you're comfortable with. Most people choose to shoot at night, choose to shoot standing supported because it's easier. But with the IR illuminator, we've got glint tape that we put on the targets, and we still shoot pop-ups. So you're still scanning left to right, looking, waiting for your target to come up. And then you put that illuminator on the glint tape and you take your shot. You're not actually looking down the sights. You're in a good position, rifle position, but you're just looking to get that reflection, that brake light, they called it, when your illuminator hits the glint tape, and then you're dead center on that target if the glint tape was in the correct spot.
Yep.
And you fired.
'Cause we were using what's called active aiming, which means
Yeah.
active aiming was using a laser to like do that instead of passive aiming, which passive aiming this seems backwards because you'd think active you would be using your sights, but you're not. We were not looking through the sights when we were doing this. We were just using our lasers, and it was doing that where, hey, we're doing this, and like Joe was saying, I have not a ton of night vision experience, but I have
more than the average bear.
I have more than even a lot of average people for the units we've been in.
Yeah. As a truck driver, the only night vision I've ever used, I mean, I've drove with it with, we're using the blackout lights in front of us and using that binocular to drive, but never had I used it for shooting, which, like I said, I went from, I hate this, like visibly, like this isn't working, to on my night of qualification, I shot a 20 out of 20. Like it's not difficult if you have if you have everything working correctly.
Yeah, and that's where this is one of those things where like the right type of coaching helps as well, which was a big thing that when we went through this course, a lot of what the instructors tried to get out of us, I think, was we did get graded on our coaching ability.
Everybody got 100%.
Yeah, well, it was.
Everybody got 100% of that.
Yeah,
I looked at the sheet.
Yeah,
but that's a big thing is we went into it open-minded, like we want to learn, and I had no idea. So I was putty when it came to the night shooting, and was able to make those adjustments because I'd never been taught anything. I'd never learned it a certain way, and that's where the whole class, like the whole 5 weeks we were there, Nick and I were talking to the instructors, having conversations with them just about shooting in general. We were open books. We didn't argue. We didn't throw a fit if something didn't go our way or we thought we were getting screwed for some reason, because there was a lot of people that were upset about the range that we shot our day qual on because it sucked. But part of the class was, yeah, this is how you shoot and this is what you're supposed to do. We had so many people that these targets, I mean, you could see like legitimately when we walked out there to put the night vision or the glint tape on them, you could see the holes. Like you could hit them dead center.
Yeah, but that's also just a part of professionalism, which both of you guys carry highly with the guards. I'm different than that because I'm a civilian and I can do that, but you guys are actually going to be a class act with it.
So. But there's so many that weren't.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of
able to make because if you're shooting from 100 to 250, you don't hold center mass. You hold quarter form because of the ballistics on that round, on the rise and drop of it. So there's so many people that were pissed that these 150s and 100 meter targets were so shot up. You basically had to shoot like you wanted to throw dirt up going over the berm to hit the bottom of the target that didn't have any holes in it. So you would get
it was quite literally aim at the bottom right corner or bottom left corner of this target.
When we were doing our practice, I was like, I remember a second or third shooter in our group on our lane, and this 150 pops up, and I shoot at it. It doesn't go down. I shoot again. And the guys behind me are like, he's hitting center mass. And I can only assume they were calling that off just seeing where the dirt was, the dust was coming up behind the target. But when it came back to me, I'm like, okay, that's when I lined up as low as I could visibly see that target and knocked it down like the next 2 or 3 times. When I came back and talked to the guys that hadn't shot yet, I'm like, when you're shooting at that target, shoot
here.
Right is you want to shoot like pube waistline. Like if that dude's naked, you're shooting at his fucking pubes because you're looking to hit that girdle in order to get a clean hit on this thing. And I know the first guy that took that advice from me went up there and shot like a 33 on a target that I couldn't knock down. So it was some people couldn't make that adjustment. They couldn't be professional. And that's part of what the instructors said, like, we get it. We told you to do something, but as instructors, as coaches, you have to be able to make that adjustment and change up what you were doing because it's not working.
Yeah, and there were guys who, the other part of that is it's like, oh, well, you guys are supposed to be the experts. Why'd you only have to shoot a 28 out of 30? And
the high score was a 33.
Yeah, and also
we lost 9 people that day. The rest of us shot between a score of that range of 5 from 28 to 33. This is with, one guy's in the class got a President's 100 tab. There's one of the guys that went home had a Governor's 20 tab. There was a very narrow.
There was like
we were shooting everywhere from 28 to 40.
9 people is a crap ton of guys in a
and like
and
of
like
these
2 or 3 more that night from the night fight.
Like there were dudes who were like in sniper sections that boloed some of this, or like we were right there with us, and it's not a ding on them. It was just part of the other part of this where they say 28 is okay. 28, you can walk in cold to any range if you have a weapon that's zeroed, and you should be capable of doing this. And
as one of the instructors said, given a good range, day one, instead of the pre-test, we should just go qualify, and if you don't qualify at 28, you get to go home. Because you should be able to do that, given a good range. Not
the
range,
one we had.
If none of us know that these targets are junk, we're going to do what we're taught and shoot for the center mass.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work. So,
but yeah, so that was one where we learned some tips and tricks there. After we got done with basic rifle qual, we moved into basic pistol qual. And so through the course of this, we shot over 2,500 rounds of 5.56, and we only shot around 400 rounds of rifle.
A pistol of 9. It was 26 and 400. So
in a month's time, that's all it was, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, because the way you guys talked, I thought you guys shot a lot more rifle than 2,600 rounds is still a good amount. Don't get me wrong, but cool.
Consider the average soldier will shoot about 200 rounds a year.
Yeah.
0 qualify or 0. If you do it right, they'll shoot their 0, shoot their holds and confirmation, and then shoot 80 at qual. And yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but we were. I mean, there was one day we shot close to 500 rounds of 5.56, and that was the UR certification day, because we shot our certification right away, and then we did a lot of drills because we had to shoot the night cert. So we did a lot of drills in between that, and we shot a lot that day.
And then how did the pistol qual go? Because you guys are shooting the M17 now, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It went as dumb as you could expect it for us. So everything we did, we got, familiarization rounds. Then we had what they called a P1, which is a 1 practice round, and then your G1, which was your graded test, and then G2. My P1, I shot at 29 out of 30. And I'm like, all right, I got this, no problem, right? Dooley, what you shoot, 27. I mean, right there with me.
It's like we both shot 29s.
Yeah.
On the first one.
So then I go to shoot my my go 1, and I let myself relax, and I guarantee, looking back at it, I stopped focusing on the front sight post and I put 7 of them into the fucking berm in front of the target. I ended up shooting a 23, and the only thing I can say is I was too comfortable. I'd rather have shot like a 25 and then came back because I would have stayed on focus, like on target. But I'm almost certain what I did was left my, or I quit front sight post or front sight focus and was target focused and just dropping my rounds.
And I shot a 28, and I could tell you exactly what I did for both of the rounds I missed. And it was, I got in my own head or started looking at things because for whatever reason, my hands were a large topic of discussion.
Because they were so large.
For both the students and the instructors. And they were talking about my grip on the pistol, so I was like subconscious and thinking about it because I was like, yeah, my thumb does drag on the slide. I should move that. So I moved it, shot. Oh, that doesn't work. Went back to shooting how I normally do, and then went, oh, wait, my thumb's dragging on the slide. And then went back and did it again. And it's like, this is not how this goes. But I knew exactly what I did for the rounds I dropped. I still don't understand. It was like they had never met a large human before.
And they talked about the guy that was there before us that lost like 50 pounds in the class being a giant. It's and you weren't that much bigger than Frazier and Kennedy. So,
well, I mean, to be fair though, Nick went to this class probably weighing 280 and came back weighing 250. I mean, I could see the substantial weight loss just because you had
I only lost 5 pounds.
That
the fun part in that time from when we shot rifle qual to shooting pistol qual and then moving into URM was the amount. I mean, we didn't get a lot. Like I said, we only shot 400 rounds of pistol, but we learned some pretty cool drills, some pretty cool technique.
Last week at the range, I ran Garth and our friend Craig through an aggregate.
You did.
Through a 30-round aggregate. And then we did the wheels fall off drill. And it's interesting to see the lockup.
Which is crazy because we're shooting it and the instructors are like, they're like, I want to watch him shoot this. So of course they're hovering around to watch Nick shoot, which means they have to watch me shoot. And even they're looking at me and they're like, you can shoot faster than that. And we're shooting faster than most of the line. And we're shooting it from, so when we shot
faster than the whole line.
So what this drill was, from 5 meters, they've got what basically amounts to a BA target. They call it a CET target or CTE, I don't remember. But it's a 5x11 sheet of paper with like a 8 ring in it. And with a full mag, you're supposed to keep everything within, was it a 7 ring?
Well, it was
on paper.
Well, it was on paper.
How fast you can shoot before you can't keep within the group.
Yeah, keep on paper. Yeah, because we did this thing and Nick yelled at me and I got scared.
And I thought I was shooting plenty freaking fast, and they're like, you can shoot faster than that. I'm like, I understand that, but it's also like when I hit 130 on my motorcycle, I know it can go faster, but I don't want to.
You don't want to get the death wobble.
Yeah, but that's basically what they were saying with us is like,
I had 2 instructors standing on each.
How fast you can make these things go.
Yeah, I had an instructor standing on each side of me screaming, "Go faster!"
Yeah.
And I did that to Garth, and he didn't know what to do.
I didn't. I thought I was going fast, and then Nick got in his instructor voice and went, "Go faster!" And I went, "Oh gosh, I don't know what to do with my hands," and they're in a gun.
But we're on this line, and we're shooting a lot faster than ever, and not just shooting the fast, but shooting a lot faster than most shooters. And they're like, you guys need to be shooting faster. Like, we get it. We understand what you guys do. And we understand accuracy is better than speed. But this is not about accuracy. This is how fast can you go without completely losing the target. And yeah, we did that.
The answer was fast.
Yeah. A lot faster than we thought we could. But
yeah, when I did it with you and Craig on Friday, I actually backed us up, and because we shot that at like 5 yards, I think.
It was 5.
And
I tried it on Monday at 10, and I couldn't.
Yeah,
I didn't hear as fast as I did there.
We
And
shot at 5, 10, and 15, but I think we shot the go fast one at like 7 or something like that.
yeah, we shot it at 7. And yeah, it was a fun drill to get into, but it also kind of makes you, one of the things about it is you're like, oh, it's mag dumping into trash. But it really makes you think about how the mechanics of your trigger finger works. And
no, I mean, so not to jump in here, but
it is a mag dump, but it's not, because the point isn't to just throw all the mag rounds out. You're still trying to keep them within a target space.
Whether you are 100%, but when you first get in
paper, whether it's the 8 ring or the 6 ring, whatever, it's how fast can you control the gun, make sure you're getting that sight picture back. It's just a bill drill with a full mag.
Yeah, but no, like think about it. When you first got into pistol, like this is what I did. I bought those 33 round fun mags, and you'd go to the range and you would just mag dump, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're just wasting ammo." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's super cool." And you had enough people yell at you, like, "No, you need to learn control before you can do that crap." And so then you learn control and you learn how to shoot properly and breathing and technique and stance and grip and trigger press. And then you go back to this drill and you have your big 6'4", 280-pound friend yell at you to tell you to go faster. And you're like, I'm going as fast as I can. And it doesn't compute in your head. But I understood the whole process of it, and it's super cool to do. I'm not going to do it every time at the range, but super neat.
I think what you hit was when you first get a gun, you want to go do this because it's so cool to see how fast you can shoot. This is not a beginner drill. Like this is an advanced drill.
This is not a beginner drill by any means.
I would put this in the advanced, because you have to trust that this person with the gun knows what they're doing.
I do, Drew. I do. I have dually PTSD.
And it's not just from Ranger panties.
No, that's just a normal fucking.
But yeah, like
Tuesday.
So if we keep moving along with the classic, then we went into URM, urban rifle marksmanship, where we're shooting everything between 5 and 25 meters with pistol and rifle. And I think we
had a day and night of that as well.
Got up on habits that we already had, especially when it came to transitioning from, your rifle's out of ammo. We just wanted to grab mag and throw it in, but we're supposed to move it into your workspace, draw the pistol, because your pistol is your lifesaver, make your, eliminate the threats, reload pistol, make sure there's no threats, holster, and then not necessarily reload, but get your weapon, your rifle back into the fight.
Was that you, Nick, the other day told me that the pistol is my defensive weapon and the rifle is my offensive?
No, how they phrased it is when you go through and do any of this, they go, the first thing you load is your pistol, because your pistol is your life saver.
There you go.
And your rifle is your life taker.
There you go. That's what it is. Yeah.
And
that might go on a shirt. I'm writing it down right now.
But
that was one where mag changes is probably where we struggled the most, because we're so ingrained into, if we're shooting fast or if we're shooting without break, it's drop mag, new mag. We weren't.
Yeah, I understand that
retaining the mag or anything like that. It was straight go, and they understood that, and we that's where we had to slow down so we could be like, all right, and that one day we had 3 different targets set up, or 3 different lanes set up with anywhere from 3 to 5 targets on them, and it's like, you're going to shoot this many, and when that gun runs dry, you're going to go to the pistol, and you're going to shoot 3 with the pistol, reload with retention, which retention means you're not dropping the mag, you're putting it in your pouch because it's not empty. And then you're going to bring the rifle back up. And that's where I think we struggle. Honestly, that's where I struggled the most in the whole class, was just getting used to that motion, because it's not something we ever work on or did, because shooting competitions, it's whether or not, even if mag, we know the mag isn't dry, it's gone mag, new mag, or fully loaded mag. Oh yeah, the body armor drill.
So this is one of the drills that we had. Here's the 3 drills that he's talking about with running the 3 targets beside each other. And for anybody watching, you can see where you're dumping, one. It's called the chaos drill, but it's chaotic. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that stuff that we got to learn, got to pick up, some new drills to try at the range. Definitely stuff that we can work into, putting on a intro to carbine or a carbine 1 class in the area. That was fun. And then we did the exact same thing, only at night, with night vision and your illuminator and your PEP, which the URM cert was super stressful, because you got to reach out and you got to hit this button on top of your PEP to turn on the laser, because you can't have the laser on. You can't have the laser on if you're not pointing it at something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the laser has to be on target, or and if you don't have your laser on and your gun goes off, it's counted as a negligent discharge.
Yeah. So I remember while we were practicing, I pull up. So if you don't hit that, you got to hit the button twice in order for the laser to stay on. So it's either you hold the button, which means if your thumb slips off, laser shuts off, you better not be in the process of pulling the trigger, or you better be able to stop that trigger finger very, very fast. I know, Nick, what'd you do that just about got you?
That was what happened. Was my thumb slipped?
Yep.
And I rolled it back on, and it, like, the laser beep, like, it came on as I pulled the trigger.
I had the same thing happen to me during one of the practice runs, where I came up to shoot. I'm going to pull the trigger. I think it was on, because most of the time we were shooting doubles.
I have
2 rounds on that silhouette, and I know that one I shot, the recoil slipped my thumb, and I was in the process of doing a double tap, and luckily got my thumb back on that. Or no, I stopped before, because that one actually, they said I shot late, and I said yeah, because I had to hold up. But that, I think, was the stress, like, add that stress in of, hey, something that you is kind of out of your control, and you do what you're doing, you go home.
Yeah, for anybody watching live or that's watching this on video, I do have a video up that I took with the Psionics camera, so you can actually see some color of, like, running forward, taking a knee, and firing, and like, at the targets, and you can kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you got 25 guys online sprinting forward, taking a knee, and then firing. In the dark under night vision, that's a stressful environment.
If I could pop in, Eric Drew had a question for you too. How many started the class? How many finished the class? Who was the top student?
Well, we did cover that right away, so he missed that.
He missed it, but let's just we can go right into it.
So there was actually 2 classes running side by side. Each class had 25 students. We were class 01, the other class 02. There was 50 total students that started between the 2. We graduated. I thought it was 35. Nick said 32, which is still a lot. 15 or 18 failures. It's a lot.
At over 1/3.
Yeah, you're looking at, it was about a third attrition. The second class, so then the course itself gives each class a top shot and an honor grad. The second class did not have an honor grad because nobody passed in their first try. So you get 2 chances to pass every test, whether it was the 2 written tests we took, the drills and positions that we had to give out, or the UTP at the end of the class. So if you didn't get a go on that, you got to retry. Well, they didn't have anybody
Anyone
else
who
for that. They did have a top shot. We had a top shot. Our top shot was a sniper from Fort Polk, or what is it now?
no. So that was our honor grad.
Well, it was an honor grad. Oh yeah, Viller was our.
Yep, our honor grad was a sniper from Fort Polk at JRTC.
On top of all the things that can get you not the honor grad, if you crossfired on a target, if you were a G2 on
Anything.
any event, crossfires, any safety violation. One guy, we were getting rid of ammo, fired, realized his CCO wasn't on, stopped to turn it on, fired his next round, and got sent home because that was a safety violation. I know there was I'm pretty sure one of the first days we were on the KD range, there was slam fire that got somebody sent home. But yeah, if you crossfired on targets, that got a lot of people, whether it was at night shooting through the barricades where we had the T-wall with the holes in different spots in it. So when you're down there trying to look through an optic, if you weren't on your lane and fired and they noticed and somebody saw that was a crossfire. That got a lot of people counseled. So that becoming honor grad or top shot was more attrition than it was being the best of the best.
Yeah.
So the guys that did get honor grad and top shot were like 95 or 97%, like even on their qualification scores or their cert scores. So
Yep, but no, they're all good dudes.
Yeah.
And everything like that.
But yeah, to finish up, the URM portion of this. So it's 20 rounds, moving, turning, and or snap shooting at like 25 meters. But you have a silhouette. So you have the FBI qual silhouette, and if one of your rounds is not on that silhouette, that's a fail. Like you can shoot 19 out of 20, but if you don't have 20 holes on this silhouette, you fail. The only ones that counted towards your score
were in the 5
ring.
So yeah. if you look at I have a picture up on screen, and you can see this is at 5 yards. This has the silhouette we shot at, even though it has some paint on it. The bowling pin in the center of that target was the only thing that counted, and that was like snap shooting at 30 yards. And doing all those words, you didn't have to have it in the head.
That was controlled pairs for everything you did, whether it was traversing, whether it was turn and shoot, or any of the turn and shoots. It was all 2 seconds to get 2 rounds. They had to be in the 5 in order to count as a hit. And if one of them missed that target, you got a no-go.
Yep. So that was like we were walking and shooting. We were, advancing and shooting. Like, I mean, like we were going from side to side and having to engage it. We couldn't stop. It was you had to shoot while you were moving.
Yeah. So that was URM. And then we moved out to this part Nick and I really wanted to study, and that was into complex, which is where we moved out. We started shooting snaps and movers at 200. The 300-meter target was just a half a silhouette, and shooting from 400 and 500 meters and that's when we switched over to the RCO from the red dot. So we spent about a week at the KD range shooting off, not even sandbags. Like we had your backpack is what your shooting bag was. So,
and that was only from to collect data. We could do it, but when we went into quals, you could only use any sort of a rest at the 500-meter line.
And I mean, we started, I remember it was a Thursday or a Friday, and we didn't do the actual cert until Wednesday. And every day it's nice, it's sunny, not a cloud in the sky, calm as can be. And of course, the day of the cert, it's cloudy with gusty, swirling winds.
Yeah.
So you had to know your dope, you had to know your holds. And if anybody's not familiar with the RCO or the,
Also,
the,
dope. Dope is important. Dope is a good thing to know. Dope is actually an acronym, because it's dope stands for data on previous engagements.
So yeah, so we spent 4 days getting dope. Not all of it was recordable, because we still had, working on the snaps and the movers, which is really hard to write down. Hey, I shot this moving target. You just kind of had to know I was holding.
Yeah, some of us got a new rifle in the middle of it. That was exciting.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good data. But where I was going was, so the RCO is, the rifle combat optic made by Trigicon. There's a couple different versions of it.
It's the ACOG.
Yes, the ACOG. The
A31.
The Stadia lines are in meters and designed for the 855, the green tip round, so that if you're shooting at 500 meters, you should be able to hold that 5 and hit. Well, guess what? This is America. We don't use meters. We shoot from yard lines with a different round.
Back-to-back World War champs. All right, I'm done.
Right? So that's where you want to track this data, because you're going to zero at 300, and then we're going to back up to 400 and 500, and you got to know where to hold that line. And it kind of worked out that shooting the A1, the ERP round, at 400 yards lines up pretty good with the 400 meter, because of the ballistics offsetting the difference in distance.
Yeah,
they're very close. I don't know whether or not that would equate to trying to shoot X's and 5s at an actual match versus making sure you just had a center mass hit. It might be a little different, but we were from 400. You could pretty much hold that 400 Stadia line right on the chest and get solid hits all day long.
Dude, John, I'm with you 100%. I feel like it dope not knowing my dope. I'm that guy. That's why I cheat and use the BDC optics, which I know Nick says that's not the way to go about it, but that's how I do it. So.
But that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's legitimately exactly what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about, is the BDCs, the compensators in the ACOG or the RCO, but you have to know where they line up versus your round and at what distance. So if you go buy a Nikon BDC reticle or optic 3x9 deer rifle, you put on your rifle scope, you still have to know, like, okay, I zeroed this at 100 using the crosshairs. Now this line, where does that at? When I put that center mass, at what distance is that? And that's what we're learning. And that's what we were doing. It's just that when the Army tried to dumb it down for everybody, they did it in meters, and then they switched the round. So,
okay. Time out. We've talked a lot about your guys' class, and we could have a whole month's worth of show of what you guys learned. But what I would like to know from Nick and Joe right now, of your 30 days there, what is the biggest takeaway each of you had from this class that you were going to apply not only to your National Guard Army status, but also to your civilian life, as far as what you learned and what you took away from it?
All city planners should go to Columbus and figure out how to build their main street.
I mean that
no. Damn it, stop that shit.
Down there, like,
no.
We're waiting at the stoplight. You have this little thing. Freaking awesome.
No, I want gun-related shit, Joe. Knock that off.
All right. Well, I have this. Like, I know exactly what it is, and I have definitely things I'm gonna bring it back for both my civilian side and to use like on the guard side when I'm teaching that. But I do know that the number one thing that really needs to be taken away from that is that the Army needs to switch to VZ grips, and VZ zips are great because they're made from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options are available, shorty versions as well. 1911 grips. Well, we still have a couple in the MTO. With these, you get extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety kits, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. There is one coupon code that is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
This is perfect because I just went and got them. Guys, if you are listening here, if you're going to listen later to the show, check this shit out because I'm going to swear a little bit. We are going to do a couple giveaways in December. I am super stoked for this. VZ Grips hooked us up. We have 4 super awesome prizes. So in the month of December, because it's going to be the Christmas season, which is not too far away, we have 2 Alien Gear VZ grips.
They're not Alien Gear.
No, Alien. Sorry, stop. They're Alien. Whatever. Hang on. Let me get the right term. Alien. They're called Alien. Alien, not Alien Gear. My bad. They're called the Alien Grip. Super smooth, not like Nick because he likes sandpaper when he shoots his AR. It's gross. Don't trust him. It's awful. But awesome grips. They have a red one and a super gray one. But here's the thing. Okay, we have 2 of these. Okay, right now I'm going to show you this right now. Okay, you see this thing? It's a number 2 pencil, right? You think it's a number 2 pencil? It's not a number 2 pencil. This is a G10 composite piece pencil dagger. Awesome. This is what you ever watch John Wick, right? John Wick killed 3 guys with a pencil. This is the pencil he used. All right. 100%, hands down, not going to make it up. This is what the guy used in the movie to kill 3 guys. I'm not saying you should do that by any means, but if you ever feel like you can't take a gun somewhere, you can't take a knife somewhere, this guy right here is the backup. This is what you want right here. We're going to give 2 of these bad boys away.
Can we get a GoFundMe to get Garth plane tickets to see if he can get that on a plane?
I'll do it myself.
Yes.
I'll do it myself.
Do you think he can get it on a plane?
Yes.
I think 100% I'll get on a plane with this. Not now, because
I know people that haven't been able to get those stupid little credit card knife.
Well, that's still a knife.
That's still a knife.
But that thing, I wonder how that would look going through.
It looks like a pencil.
You're gonna put it in the bucket. It's gonna come through the X-ray weird.
It looks like a pencil. Looks like a pencil.
Not an X-ray. I guarantee you that if that thing's not wood and lead, it's not gonna show up on an X-ray like a normal pencil does.
Well, I'm gonna wear it in my fanny pack from Vertex. So I'm gonna wear my Vertex bag, and it's gonna go through the metal. Well, I guess you have to send through anyway. But they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's a pencil."
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll do the magic trick.
Anyway, we'll move on now.
I'm just saying, super cool. Can't wait to give these away. So, guys, for listening, for the tens and tens of you watching live, we thank you. So, if you guys haven't watched it live, come back, watch it live so you can see all the cool stuff we're going to give away in December. They're going to be listener-based shows, so you definitely want to tune in live in December to win some cool prizes.
Well, as we move on, I'll answer Garth's question, though, about some things that I brought back. I did learn a handful of drills that I would like to use because it's just a couple drills to push out that were different than what I had done in the past. And there were just a couple small techniques where it wasn't like anything that was majorly mind-blowing, but it was little things that I can change to be more efficient.
Yeah,
such as
we got to come to a class to find that out.
No. I want to know such as. Like, give me your top.
Easy, Drunky Bear.
First of all, you calm down. Second of all, I want to hear a top 3 list.
So I already talked about like that wheels fall off drill that I had you guys run and the aggregate. Those are two things that I think are very important to do. That is very much so two of the major things that I will bring back to run with both pistol and rifle, to do those aggregates and do those at distance, just so you can kind of run those things to get a better feel for where you're at. And then that dope collection would be the third thing I think is probably the most important.
I think for me, going like in front of troops with it is definitely getting back to full extension on your non-firing arm. Just the positions and drills in general there on how to kneel in front of a barricade. Being that when
that's a big thing as well.
When you're shooting supported kneeling, you have the firing knee up instead of non-supported. That was one that I had caught, because that's actually, I've had that question on the range. Like, hey, this doesn't feel right. What do I do? I'm like, whatever feels comfortable. But now I know, hey, this is what doctrine would say, and it is the most comfortable thing.
Yes.
Like we said, like Nick and I had the conversation. If we'd have taken this class in March or June, July, when we went to the MAC in Guernsey, knowing what that dope was on that round and that optic would have been super valuable to us. So yeah, definitely the dope going into the National Guard matches, and then yeah, the drills all around, just the different pistol drills, the different rifle drills that we ran through, stuff that we hadn't seen, or different versions of doing something we may have already known, but being able to use them on the range, because we did all the drills we did on a 25-meter range. So if we go to go to downstream, we can practice all those drills on the big range, just set your targets up. So
the only thing we did that wasn't on a 25-meter range for drills was what you generally would call a 9-hole drill, but we did it as a 4-hole drill. And that was shooting out to when we were shooting out to range through the slots in the barricades.
Yep.
Which was a lot of fun.
One of the coolest videos you guys might have sent me was you guys being down in the pit and then having bullets come down range while you were down in the pit. That was super cool.
That wasn't even the best part.
For me, it was, because I was watching 100 miles away
behind us, shooting not over us, but past us at their targets. That day was like blow people's minds that have never done anything but worked a static range on a National Guard camp. And as Becker put it, and in case you've never been shot at before, that's what gunfire, or that's what it sounds like when bullets are coming at you.
I have been shot at. I've been shot in the eye. I was 13. It sucked. It was awful. I blame Luke. If he's watching, you're a dick. Anyway, I have one more question for you guys. 100%. While you guys were there, I know, like, I don't know what the Army standard is, but was anyone blinged out? Because if they weren't, they should definitely check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. For all your patch needs, you can get things like the Bazooka Turtle Shell, which I think is awesome. Turtle.
Or was that just in the patch of the month?
This came in the patch of the month, but that's because Jake likes me and he sends me extra stuff.
He sent that one to everybody.
Oh, did he? Well, then good for him, because Jake is a
break your heart. For sure, we all got that one.
Are you Patch of the Month member, Joe?
I am.
That is fantastic, because actually the other one is
some blinged out people.
You found me. It's the Claymore with the Easter egg grenades. I absolutely adore and love this one. It's going on the gun wall. I'm actually thinking about plastering my gun wall with all of Patriot Patch stickers, because why not? Let's spice it up a little bit, It's like OnlyFans, except it's Garth and a gun wall. No one wants to see that. People pay me $5 not to do that. 100%. Maybe I should start one. I don't know. But anyway, check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. Join the Patch of the Month Club. Super awesome. You get super cool things like this Bazooka Turtle Shell, which we all know from Mario Kart 64. This is badass.
It's the red shell. It should have been the blue shell.
No, this is the tracking shell. This is the one you want. You want the 3 tracking shells.
The blue shell is the one that Hamas, or is the one that the Israelis keep throwing at the Hamas leaders.
Well, Hamas and Israel have pretty much come to a standstill because of the election. Thank goodness. I mean, all of the wars in the world have kind of like, we're not going to do that anymore. But I digress. We're not going to talk about
get
that.
Daddy's home. We got a guys. Come on, turn the music down.
Yep. Oh no. Hey, what's up? Anyway, so yes, check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. Jake and all the guys over there do a fantastic job. That's all I got to say about that.
No, and he really does. It is awesome the stuff they do, and it is definitely good.
The shirt doesn't come off until we're in the pool. But you gotta be present for that. You gotta come to GunCon to see that stuff. So
yeah, GunCon's a wild time, man.
Oh, GunCon is so good.
No,
because we have Nick, we have myself, and now we have our new media relations, Joe. Which I'm kind of sad you didn't change your name to that, media relations, because that's who you are now. You know that, right?
But anyways, we'll go back to one thing about the class. We did finish out. So we finished out with doing the complex firing, where again we fired, moving targets at 200 and then 3, 4, and 5. And that one also took a handful of people.
So that was with 3. So that was on Wednesday. Graduation was on Friday, and I know we lost at least 1. And like I said earlier, fate would have it when everything we did to get our dope was sunny and calm, no wind at all. And on the day of the cert, it was gusting and swirling and overcast. So it was, yeah.
No, it was. And then our final stuff was UTP, which is stuff nobody cares about. So we're not going to talk about it.
Thank God.
No one cares about building a unit training plan.
We didn't care. We just had to do it.
Yeah. But no, Garth's like, yay, they're almost done talking about this class.
No, guys, I absolutely adore that you guys took this class. It was fantastic. You guys have a plethora of knowledge that you're going to share with me on the range, and I cannot wait. Nick has already shared some of it with me. But yeah, some of the stuff goes over my head because I just don't care. And it's not meant in hostility or mean or anything like that. You guys learn more in a month than I'm ever going to take in about, shooting and stuff like that ever.
We got paid.
You got paid. Exactly.
Paid. We got paid to take Intro to Carbine, Carbine 1, Carbine 2, and Precision Carbine. Because we were shooting from 500 meters. We shot 500, or from 5 meters to 500 is what we were graded on. And the one day we had targets at 650, and 725.
Yeah, and that's 100 yards, 100 meters longer than my range at my farm right now. I don't like to take long distance shooting because I just don't want to miss. Because my theory about life and about if we ever have a second civil war, which thank goodness we're not going to do that right now, is there's a guy out there with a bigger gun who's a better shot than I am, and I just know I would not suit well. I'm not going to go look for a fight. I'm a defensive guy only. So with that said, you guys enjoy. I loved it. I'll let you guys continue on now.
We first started, and I'm sure Dooley's in the same sentiment, but I'd go back again next month and redo the whole damn class.
Oh yeah, I would.
Shooting.
I would, but this time I'd be like, no, you guys are going to let me use some of my toys because I'm not going to use your PVS 14. I'm going to use my dual tubes. But that's a me thing.
Yeah, it was. And that's, and guard schools are very interesting with the selection of people you get to meet
The
and
eclectic
be on
group.
with. And we had a great group of guys. We had the instructors know their shit. They were as willing to learn from us as we were from them. When they saw Dooley shooting like this, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" I have astigmatism. Did you know that if you put the rear sight post up to look at your dot, it clears up the dot?
Well, I heard they only learned in the last week of class that Nick was a instructor for his own company and had a podcast, and he blew all their minds. So
it wasn't straight up advertised, but in small group conversations, it might have leaked here or there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I've learned that the hard way. I've advertised for him, and he's like, "Hey, shut up." I'm like, "I'm sorry," but no, I get it.
When we were sitting at the bar with the Rangers on Halloween. Wait,
Yeah.
You have a podcast? You have a training company? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was too nice. I wasn't wearing any of the gear.
You guys were hanging out with a guy named Jameson, whatever his name is. He's a dick, I heard.
No, Jameson's nice.
I
don't mind Jameson. I've never minded Jameson.
But just, we get you, especially in a school where the people that didn't want to be there kind of washed out pretty quick. And just talking with shooters about shooting stuff and getting to see other things and engage how other people do it.
There was definitely the most interesting thing about this course was like kind of the dichotomy of people we had there, because there was one guy who was there, super great kid, great dude. I shouldn't call them all kids.
That's such a hard thing to do. It's like, it's like, wait, they're like 30.
No. You can call them kids, because explain why you can call them kids.
Oh, because
we're like the oldest people there.
We're ancient.
Because they
weren't born before you guys signed up to join. Yeah, they're kids.
Because we're over 40 truck drivers going through an infantry school and hanging right with everybody, whereas 25-year-old drill sergeants are right there.
Washing up.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'd be scared if both you guys were drill sergeants. 100%.
I think it was the night that the class went to the 18th Amendment, and I was talking to the guy that sat at the table with Dooley the whole time and said something about being a nerd, and I'm like, we're all nerds. It's just what is it for? I'm like, Dooley's a gun nerd, and this kid's a quad racer. I'm like, you're a nerd in that venue, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, some of us are whiskey nerds, some of them are cigar nerds. Like, not all nerds are just video games and duct tape glasses. You're a nerd in what you're a nerd in, and you're a nerd because you don't know how to unmute yourself.
I am muted. Yep. Beware of old men in dangerous professions. That's what Aaron Drew says. Thanks, Joe. You're so kind to me. You jerk.
That's why he's our media guy.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I am so glad. I can't wait to go to our next function and bring Joe along.
How many people get my background reference?
I don't. Is that Fortnite? What is that?
No.
What is it?
Well, it's the guy that doesn't have a head holding a Thompson.
It's Roland the Headless Thompson gunner. Yeah, I was looking at it because I didn't blow it up. I was like, is that Sid the Sloth holding a gun?
I thought it was the Goombas from Mario Brothers.
But no, we were definitely kind of the old guys there. But like the one kid, I was legitimately worried about him having a heart attack.
He does that to himself.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer Andrew's question real quick.
Garth, you answer that question, and then we should probably get close to signing off.
Correct, yes.
Yeah,
so I just used a couple 2x4s, screwed them into the studs, and then I did some 1x6s by the appropriate length, which is in this case 63 inches. And stand them in my garage, and I will move out of the way so everyone can see this stuff. Absolutely. Up top, I've got my firefighter gun. I'm so proud of that because, well, I am a firefighter. I have the Foxtrot Mike ranch rifle, the Keltec RDB, the Mini 14 that Nick and I spent, I don't know, probably an hour on trying to get together because, well, I put it together wrong and he saved the day. Got my goat guns, little FDE AR or M14 right there hanging out. My 357 lever action, of course. My SIG collection of the X5, the DH3, and the AGX with the fuse slide on it. Of course, the platypus has to be up there. The Glock 34, Glock Tendo, and then of course my bolt action Ruger that takes the AR mags. And I'm currently, I'm waiting on 3 guns to get added. I want to add a couple mare's legs and the Henry Supreme when that comes out, whenever it may be. Of course. Oh, sorry, I forgot the 2 revolvers up there. The Jerry Mechalek 9mm 8-shot revolver, as well as the
929.
Yes, 929. That is it. And then the Chiappa Rhino Storm Hunter is what they call that, from a movie I haven't seen yet.
Stormtrooper.
No, well, it would have been cool. Yes, it 100% would have. So Storm Hunter from whatever movie, I don't know, some movie I haven't seen yet, but it just looked cool to me, so I had to buy it. Devin, if you're listening, do not overpay for that gun, damn it. That's just a shout out. Love that kid.
Also, AR Drew, if you are looking for a sling bag for 320 mags or something of that nature, you need to look up Victos and their bags. They have a couple sling bags that are kind of right up what you want.
Tim, man, I don't know, man. Like, I wanted the bun arms so bad, but then, I listened.
It's vaporware.
Well, gosh dang, Nick and Sean went and checked it out at Goals that I could not attend, or Nick could attend, and I heard the magazine release was in a bad position. Now, I'm a left-handed shooter, so I don't know. I'd have to check it out in person. I have not got to shoot it yet, so that will determine. But if they ever drop it, I heard they're in like Generation 4, and the Henry Supreme has been known for about a year, but they haven't even put it on their site yet. So I'm getting kind of tired of all this stuff, and I've called Henry a few times and chewed them out, but I don't have enough pull for that to matter. So it is what it is.
Don't they know you have a podcast? I mean, that's like the most dangerous thing in the world.
Yeah, they don't care about my podcast, which is not my. This is Nick's podcast, and I just come and hang out. Oh no, the Henry Supreme is high on the list, super high on the list, because I did get to shoot that gun, and wow, I was pleasantly surprised. It was the 300 Blackout, but still super cool gun.
Well, and with that, before we digress too much into this, since we said we were going to start wrapping it up.
Oh, wait. Stop. Hammer time. No, I'm kidding. Don't hammer time unless you want to. But what you guys should do is check out dangfree.net. We have an app. Sean Heron from We Like Shooting has created this awesome platform where everyone who is like Nick, I, and Joe can hang out, share ideas, talk about guns. Guys, if you have not signed up for dangfree.net, they have the App Store, iOS, and Android. I believe Android. I don't know. I don't own one.
Yes.
Don't care. Okay, good deal. So check out dangfree.net. Sign up, subscribe. They have all the awesome things. They have homesteading. They have camping. They have cooking. They have our podcast. They have all the podcasts on the network. And then go check out our show, please, because we're trying to look for a new theme. I know some of you guys really love our theme, but it's generic because I've heard it on other social media platforms, and I want something that embodies Nick and I, and now Joe. And so please check out dangfree.net and give us a like on which theme you like, because I've posted a few of them, and we're looking for a new one. And we're going to find one soon, and we're going to debut that in the near future. That's all I got to say about that. Now you can go do what you have on.
Yes.
First of all, I have ADD no matter what. I'm on pills for.
Welcome to my life.
Why did you mute me? That was BS. I saw that pop up there before I saw it pop up there. You muted me again. What a dick.
I don't know what you're talking about. Joe, do you got anything to add before we sign off for tonight?
No, I think we covered it. We covered everything that I mean, I don't think we scratched the surface of that course.
No, that course was definitely.
But I think everybody got the gist of we got paid to do some pretty cool shit.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome. Garth, 20 seconds or less. Anything else?
Oh, now I can be unmuted? No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Well, everyone, you know what I'm going to say. Remember that no one is going to save you. No one is coming to save you. You are your own first responder. Expect to self-rescue. With those things being said, everyone go out, get training. Take a class, take a rifle class, take a handgun class, take a medical class. Go out, get training, do better for yourself, your family, and your community. And guys, everyone out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube. AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea. Make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.